Everybody, ooh, smaller. Tammy from Kansas City, Missouri, or Missouri, wants to know what are one or two things you've learned seeing yourselves on camera, and how has it impacted you? Maybe being a New Yorker, I still talk really, really fast. Even now, I'm still getting a speeding ticket. I'm still going 55 and a 45, and I have to keep constantly slowing down. And that's in my daily life. And also focus, look at the camera, look at you, look at that beautiful face over there.
I've had a production background, so none of this is too out there for me. I worked as a cameraman in a TV studio for a few years. So went to school for a lot of the production stuff. So as far as I'm looking on camera, I already have been doing this, hosting comedy open mic night once a month. So I'm fairly familiar. It's still weird sometimes when you hear your voice back, but I've gotten pretty used to it at this point.
Stephen from Santa Cruz, California, he asks, who is the best or most memorable opening act you've ever seen and why? In 2015, when I saw Xenia Rubinos open up for the Battles, she's become one of my favorite artists of the last decade. I love her 2 albums. I can't wait for album number 3. Eventually, in one of our future shows, I'll rock my Xenia Rubinos t-shirts. Tremendously interesting, quirky artist. She's been called weird. I played her music from some friends of ours, and they're like, "This is fucking weird," and that's awesome.
Seeing the Moldy Peaches opened for They Might Be Giants in Philadelphia, I didn't even know they were opening, and I had a whole tape of their songs I'd been listening to, so it was kind of a big surprise that, and I was the only person that knew all the songs. I saw 9 Inch Nails play at Madison Square Garden, and Queens of the Stone Age opened up, and the main thing I remember about that is Joey Castillo behind the drum kit, and he was just an animal back there. Just watching that guy drum for that show when he was part of the opening act, Queens of the Stone Age, was tremendous. I was just like, who is that dude?
One person who was playing bass for Queens of the Stone Age during that show was a great guy, Alain Johannes, who played in a band called 11 in the 90s. He actually was in the original band with members of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was in their high school band, and What Is This? And cool story, like I contacted him because I wanted to hear the What Is This albums. They were really hard to find. That was Jack Irons and Hillel Slovak playing with him on a different record label. And he's like, "What's your address, dude?" And he gave me copies. He played with Chris Cornell. And he has a new album coming out on Ipecac Records, Mike Patton's label. Derek from Armonk, New York, is putting us on a spot. In your opinion, what is the greatest musical comeback hit story ever?
Ooh. Oh, who was that guy from Detroit? I can't remember his name.
Rodriguez. I know exactly.
Yeah.
Sugar Man.
I'll go with him. There was a whole documentary about him. They kind of unearthed him. He was like a bricklayer. He did an album, and then I think he just kept being a bricklayer for the rest of his life. And then someone found him in like his 60s, and they were like, "Oh, you're the dude who made this amazing album back in the 70s. Why don't you start playing?" And then he started playing live shows, but he'd been this bricklayer the entire time. He got really popular where? Was it Germany?
South Africa.
Okay.
I actually saw him, dude. Like, no joke. I saw him at the one Coachella I went to. He actually played, and it was a good set, but he was so soft. Like, because Coachella has 5 stages and thousands of people. So the next stage over, like Infected Mushroom, or one of those more like dancey or dubstep group, is playing, and so he's playing, and you just hear like, and he even commented on that, how he's being drowned out. But it was a good set. I'll throw out a very random answer. Santana 4. Santana came out. Santana 4 was most of the original lineup from Santana. I think that was the first time that particular lineup played together since the early 70s. In that lineup, among other people, was Neil Schon, who the world has not stopped believing with for almost 30 years. He's a guitarist and primary songwriter in Journey.
Frederick from Seattle, Washington, says he hears you have an obsession with doing Dave Mustaine impressions.
What do you mean I'm going to jail? Wear a mask now, wear a mask now. If you're in public, wear a mask now, or you'll be 99 ways to die. Karina from Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Similar question to before about artists and all that fun stuff. But this particular one is, name an artist or some artist you listen to now that your pre-teenage or teenage self would probably be utterly shocked or disgusted at. That's a great question.
I made a YouTube playlist of classical music, I don't know, like a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have thought I would listen to classical music. Once in a blue moon, I'll just leave it on. Because I'm like, I feel a little more cultured right now. Because maybe it'll make me a little smarter. So, you know, there's the whole thing about playing classical music for babies. Maybe it helps their intelligence a little. So once in a while, I'll leave the station on for a few minutes.
Rubberneck by the Toadies. I hated that album so much in '94. I just like couldn't stand it, and I bought it at like a flea market for 50 cents, and it's a freaking that has some bangers on it. That is a great album.
Some smokers.
Some smokers, some movers, some shakers, some rumpers, some I don't know donuts. Ani DeFranco, Beth Orden, Joni Mitchell, Silly Wizard, which was a Scottish folk band in the 70s and 80s, and Bass Nectar. I think especially like Ani DeFranco. I mean, people know me like just. I don't come off as like an Ani DeFranco kind of fan.
You don't come off as an Ani DeFranco fan. Stupid to base it on someone's looks, but you know.
What if Axl Rose and Treach from Naughty by Nature had a conversation about like the jungle versus like the get like, you're in the jungle, motherfucker, you're gonna die. You don't know about the ghetto. You've never been in the ghetto, but you've never been in the jungle, baby. And you know, and then Axl starts doing it.
Gotta get the snake dance in there.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I mean, Treach is a tough guy, but once Axl starts rocking that old snake dance, it might kind of throw him for a loop.
I think Treach would just basically like super kick him or just, you know, flying forearm him. I think Axl's all talk and he won't walk the walk, but he'll talk the talk.
Naughty by Nature's got a bat in their logo. GunsNRoses has guns. Bats, guns. I gotta go snake dance, man. The snake dance beats the hey oh. Hey oh is great, but it's a little lazy. Snake dance, you get the whole thing involved, man.
By sheer power of love, the hip hop hooray dance wins because that involves Axl's more selfish. It's like it's just him who's doing it. Nobody else can do it except maybe Scott Weiland had his own version of it, but nobody else can.
This is the great debate of our time, man.
Yeah, this is
snake dance versus hip hop hooray.
Hip hop hooray wins by the sheer power of love. It's one of those things where like the love of everybody combines and overpowers Axl's like pissed offness. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, ring that bell.
Everybody in the pool.
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 Everybody in the pool.